Hi guys, how are you doing? I hope everybody's great. I sure miss you. So, let's keep going. This is the book we're going to read today. It's called The William Hoy Story by Nancy Chernin. And just an interesting thing about the author, she is a theater critic for the Daily Morning News. All right, before we read this book, I want you to think about a couple things. What does it mean to be deaf? Do you know anyone who is deaf? And I want you to close your eyes and imagine that you were deaf and mute, meaning you can't talk. Do you think it would limit you in everyday life? Do you think it would limit you from reaching your goals? All right, open your eyes, but still think about that while we read this story, okay? And by the way, this book won at least 7 or 8 awards that I counted. So it's a really good book. William scooped dust to dry the sweat off of his slick rubber ball. He stared at the small X he'd chalked on the brown wall. He closed his eyes, he opened them and threw. Bam! He hit the mark. He stepped back so he could try again. His mother waved her arms. She was applauding him. She touched her fingers to her mouth to signal eating. He read her lips as she said dinner. William pulled out his pad and pencil and he scribbled, "Just a few more? I want to be perfect for tryouts." His mother nodded. His family was passing the mashed potatoes around the table when William pushed open the door. He read his father's lips for him telling him to wash up for dinner. He also read what his father's lips mouthed to his mother. "Baseball," his father said, shaking his head. "It will never last." Still, William couldn't wait to try out at his school, the Ohio State School for the Deaf. At tryouts he threw the ball. He caught it. He batted. He waited. "Too small," the team captain said. William never got much taller than 5'5". He couldn't do anything about that. But maybe they'd give him another chance if he aimed better and ran faster. So every day after homework and chores, he practiced. One day William was standing outside the cobbler shop where he fixed shoes, wistfully watching men play baseball in the far-off field. A foul ball crashed by his feet. With a strong, sure arm he threw the ball straight into an amazed player's waiting hand. "Hey, kid," the player called, "want to join us?" But William couldn't read the player's lips from where he was, so he turned back to work. The man ran to William and tapped his back to get his attention. William whirled around, and this time when the man repeated the question, he understood. He scrambled happily to the outfield. William threw the ball smack into his teammate's hands. When he was up at bat, he sent it soaring where no one could catch it. "What's your name?" asked one of the players. "William Hoy," William wrote. The man looked at the piece of paper a long time, and he seemed to be thinking. "Do you want to try out for our team?" he asked William at last. William grinned. He sure did. William soon learned life in the hearing world wasn't easy. Unlike his parents, few people used sign language in the 1800s, and certainly not in baseball. He won a spot on the first team he tried out for, but the manager smirked when he offered William less money than he paid the others. "I quit," William told him with his notebook. He quickly found another team. But even on his new team, some players talked behind his back so he wouldn't know what they were saying. Others hid their mouths so he couldn't read their lips. One day a pitcher played the meanest trick of all. William let 3 pitches go by because he thought they were balls. He was too far to read the umpire's lips and didn't know they were actually strikes. He stood gripping his bat waiting for the next pitch, but the next pitch never came. William was confused. Suddenly the pitcher burst out laughing. He pointed to the fans in the stands, laughing too. William's face grew hot. He walked off quickly. He wasn't going to cry, not about baseball, he told himself. He jammed his hands in his pocket. Paper crunched against his fist. He pulled out a letter from his mother, and he read again how much she missed him. William missed his family, too. He remembered how his mom would raise her arms to applaud him. That's it. William pulled out his pad and drew pictures. He scribbled words next to the pictures. He wrote. He wrote. He wrote. He ran to find the umpire. The umpire read William's notes. Yes, that would work, he said. The next time William was at bat, the umpire raised his right hand for a strike and his left for a ball. He used American Sign Language symbols for safe and out. This time, William got on base. He stole bases. He scored. In his first year in the majors, he led the National League in stolen bases. With his strong, sure arm, he became the first player to throw 3 base runners out at the plate in one game from the outfield. William taught his teammates signs so they could discuss plays without the other team hearing. They loved it. The fans enjoyed learning signs too. In those days, before speakers and giant screens, hearing the umpire's calls from the back of the bleachers was hard to do. Now even the farthest member of the crowd could see the signals. Teams begged for William. He played for several before signing with the Cincinnati Reds near his family's farm. William was proud to show his parents that the boy who didn't make the school team was one of the most popular players in baseball. When William stepped up to the plate, shaking his bat over his shoulder, fans knew he'd hit or walk his way to first, then swiftly steal his way around the bases. Carefully watching the signals, he led the American League in walks in 1901. He was called the King of Center Field because for 10 years he was ranked among the top 5 outfielders to get hitters out by catching hard-to-reach fly balls. After William became a star, he thought nothing could surprise him. Then, one day, when he ran out onto the field, fans waved their arms from the stands just as his mother did when he was a boy. They waved their hats, too. William said he'd never cry about baseball, but he did cry at this sight of deaf applause. All he'd wanted to do since he was a boy was find a way to play his favorite game. He never dreamed he'd change how the game was played, but he did, and we still cheer him today. All right, there's a little more about William Hoy in the back of the book. When you look up William Ellsworth Hoy, you often find him referred to as Dummy Hoy. During William's time, dummy was a common name for people who were deaf and mute. William, who was proud of being deaf, referred to himself as Dummy. While William has long been a hero in the deaf community, he's not as well known in the hearing world. Even though he broke many records and became one of baseball's most popular players from 1888 to 1902. He was born May 23, 1862, in Houghtown, Ohio, in his parents' farm. He was the only member of his family who was deaf. He had lost his hearing at a young age from meningitis. After William graduated as valedictorian of Ohio State School for Deaf in Columbus, Ohio, his parents hoped he'd settle down to a respectable life as a cobbler. But he loved baseball. He continued to fix shoes in between seasons. William went all out for every play. Once, and this has been proven, he jumped onto a horse standing on the edge of the outfield just to catch a ball. He also had a sense of humor. When his team had been kept up all night by loud guests at a hotel, William bragged about how well rested he was because he was deaf. William Hoy was not the only person to introduce hand signals to the game, but he did work with umpires to develop a number of signs he would need to succeed before signals became official in baseball. He married Anna Maria Lowry, a teacher of the deaf, who was deaf herself, and they raised their children and a nephew on a dairy farm near Mount Healthy, Ohio. After retiring from baseball, he worked as a personal director for the Goodyear Company and organized the company's deaf workers into a baseball team he called the Goodyear Silents. William received a standing ovation when he threw the first pitch before Game 3 of the 1961 World Series when the Cincinnati Reds played the New York Yankees. He was 99 years old. And listen, I found that online and I wanted to make a link on this for you guys, but I haven't figured out how to get a Twitter link on yet, but I will figure it out. But you can find that online where he threw out the first pitch and an interview with him and his son after. In the years since his death, William Hoy has been inducted into numerous baseball halls of fame. The Hancock Sports Hall of Fame in 1989, the Ohio State School for the Deaf Hall of Fame in 1990, and the Ohio Baseball Hall of Fame in 1992, the Cincinnati Reds Hall of Fame in 2003, and the Baseball Shrine of Eternals in 2004. But he has never been inducted into the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. So there is an ongoing request to get him inducted. So you can also find that stuff online. All right, so while you listen to this, I hope you were thinking about what you could accomplish. You know, what if you were deaf and not able to speak. He didn't let that stop him. He had a passion for what he was doing and what he loved, and he didn't let that stop him. So don't let anything stop you guys, because I know you can do whatever you set your minds to. All right. Click on the next link. I'm going to try to find some more interesting things about this guy, and I will see you next time. Bye.